If you want to manifest your dream life, you need to take responsibility. Yes, you need to take responsibility for your life, but also for your manifestations. And sometimes, especially when we're still operating not as a deliberate creator, but as a random creator, as somebody who doesn't create by choice, but somebody who creates based on the emotions of past trauma, based on the thoughts of past trauma, based on negative beliefs that we've been brought up with, we then create events in our life that we don't want to experience, that we don't even wish for our worst enemy. And I know what I'm talking about, because the last thing that I wanted to do, the last thing on earth that I wanted to do while I was lying in bed with my health issues, in pain, not being able to walk, not being able to run, not knowing if I will ever be able to walk again, not knowing if I will ever be able to run again, not knowing if any of the things that I want to experience in my life will ever be possible for me. The last thing on earth I wanted to do was to say, yep, I created that. Was the last thing on earth I wanted to do. But I had to come to that conclusion. And to be honest, when I was then diving in deep into the material of Neville Goddard and I was practicing with the meditations of Dr. Joe Dispenza, then I realized that, yeah, oh boy, I had created that. I so created that. And this was a very scary realization, but also an incredibly powerful realization. Because in this moment, and I still remember that, I made a decision with a very clear intention. And the intention I set for myself was that from now on, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter what I have to learn, no matter how often I will fail, no matter how many times I have to meditate, no matter how often I have to repeat certain beliefs and affirmations, no matter what, I take full responsibility for my future. From now on, from this moment on, things will no longer be the same. And I assume responsibility for my life because I also back then assumed responsibility for the life that I was living back then. And I want to say it again, this was a very painful process. It wasn't easy to take responsibility, but it is necessary. And Neville Goddard teaches the exact same process. For example, in The Power of Awareness, Neville Goddard says, assume responsibility for the life you now live, knowing that you are the only one who can change it. And I want to emphasize that again. When I was lying in bed, being in pain with nerve damage, and wondering, why did I have to let it get that far? Why did I end up in this situation? And of course, the answer to the question, why did I end up in this situation, was very clear to me. I was operating from a trauma response, trauma emotions, my cortisol level was through the roof, and for the last 20 years, I was basically living in constant survival mode. So no wonder I got these health issues. No wonder my immune system broke down. No wonder my body broke down. No wonder the universe had to give me a really painful and really big slap in the face for me to finally wake up. Or in this case, a slap down there in my lower area, in case you've already listened to the episodes where I talk about my physical healing journey. But yes, I needed to take responsibility for my life, because otherwise I would have just said, oh no, I'm a victim. And believe me, I had days when I was tempted to actually go back into this old victim mentality. And I had days when I actually went back into this mentality, but then I dragged myself out of it again. But I could have also said back then, or let's better say I could have also stayed in that mindset of, oh no, I'm a victim, I don't know why it happened, I guess there's nothing I can change about it. And believe me when I say that if I would have done that back then, now I wouldn't be healed. Now I wouldn't be living in a wonderful relationship. Now I wouldn't have the financial freedom that back then I could only dream of. All because I was taking responsibility for my life. And as Neville Goddard says in The Power of Awareness, assume responsibility for the life you now live. Even if right now you want to scream and shout and say, I didn't create that, I didn't want that, In the first moment we all react like that, and I for sure reacted like that. But then I invite you to simply ask yourself a very honest question. And this honest question consists of just one word. Really? That's the question, basically. And I know I have to laugh about it now because it seems kind of funny, but it really is the most powerful question to ask yourself in this moment. To give you an example, when I was lying there with my health issues, and I then said to myself, I didn't create that, I'm not responsible for that, oh, I'm a victim. I then asked myself, really? Come on, Sebastian. Let's be honest for a moment. Of course you created it. You were living in survival all these years. You were living in the stress response all these years. Your cortisol level was through the roof all these years. You didn't sleep all these years. You were stressing yourself out all these years. You were acting not according to law of energy, not according to a loving principle. You were not loving to yourself. You were destroying yourself in every possible way you could. And when I then came to this realization, I was like, oh God, yeah, I totally created that. And that was the moment, the very scary moment, when I took responsibility for the life that I was living back then. And then, just as Neville Goddard says it, keep in mind that you are the only one who can change it. Nobody can change your life for you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I offer different coaching sessions. I offer hypnosis sessions. And I just created a 6-week coaching program for every deliberate creator who wants to reach a state of pure financial abundance. And you can find out more about all these different coaching sessions and this brand new coaching program by going to affirmation2manifestation.com/coaching. And yes, I am motivated to help you. And yes, I will share all the manifestation techniques with you that I use to manifest health, love, and money. I will share all these techniques with you. I will practice them with you, and I will help you in any way I can possibly can to reach the frequency of what you want to manifest and to draw it into your physical experience. But in the end, you have to do what I teach you. You have to put the advice into practice. You have to observe your thoughts. You have to not let go any thought by unnoticed. You have to become the master of your thoughts and your emotions. You have to do it. Because you are the only one who can change your life. And always remember, and this is something that Neville Goddard talks about in Your Faith is Your Fortune, no one can save us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. And I love this quote. I love this quote so much. And that's why I want to repeat it again. No one can save us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. And this is something that Neville Goddard says in Your Faith is Your Fortune. And that's why I want to say it again. Yes, I will do everything in my power to help you, to guide you, to inspire you, to motivate you, to teach you, and to share everything I know with you. But in the end, it's your responsibility to change your life, and only you can make this very powerful decision. This decision to say, I, from now on, take full responsibility for my manifestations, for my beliefs, for my emotions, and for my life. And that's when the magic can happen. And I know, as I said before, this can be a very scary decision. It can be a very painful decision, depending on your current situation. However, it's the most important decision you could possibly make. And that's why every deliberate creator at some point has to make this decision and has to take full responsibility for his or her life.